might as well just...
You use the mayo method to toast the bread?
I don't toast bread on the stove. I have a toaster, so, you know...
You're missing out on good damn bread. Toasting on the pan, pan frying tastes better.
I'm sure it does.
Why?
I don't have time for that shit, though.
What? I don't know why. This is something I found on the internet. If you just put mayonnaise onto your slices of bread and just put them on the pan, it makes it crisp. It makes it crispier than using butter. I don't know why that is, but it tastes fucking delicious.
That's interesting.
Oh wait, you have Facebook. That's right. That's how. I guess that's how you know.
What?
Because there's all this food stuff on Facebook. Because every now and then I'm go on there and like the fourth thing I see will be like, oh, here's how to make this and here's a video about it. And
Facebook has a lot of
that's
fun.
Half of YouTube.
Facebook has a lot of fun food tutorial videos. I haven't tried any of them yet.
For as much as I say the internet has allowed for fascism, it has been great for cooking. I will always say that it has been great for cooking.
Well, that's the trade-off, John. If you let in fascism, or if you have to take the fascism that comes with the cooking. Apparently.
You're right. You're right.
Mm.
That is an inalienable truth.
Anyway.
So, I guess 2 things movie news. One, I'm getting stupid. My second thing of movie news is, according to my mother, watching an HBO documentary, Raiders of the Lost Ark was filmed as a B movie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's kind of
I did not know that.
It was kind of Spielberg became like an A director pretty much accidentally. Both Raiders and Jaws are classic B movie fare.
I mean, he was... Sorry. Spielberg kind of in that phase of his career was a guy who elevated kind of sometimes pulpy kind of B movie material to just cinema perfection somehow.
Yeah, that seemed like Raiders, especially Raiders and the rest of the Indiana Jones movie, well, especially by the time you get to The Last Crusade, it fully embraced the pulp.
Yeah.
Which is interesting. I think Last Crusade is really fascinating, just for how much it differentiates from what Raiders is going for.
It's an interesting movie. If anyone's so inclined, they can jump back in the feed about a year to when we talked about that. But
a surprisingly contentious episode of all fucking filmmakers.
That was so strange. I still can't believe Warner didn't like E.T., but this is not.
I've never met anyone else who didn't like E.T., but regardless.
So bizarre. Except for me when I was 7 years old.
I guess I'd like to say one thing before we start.
Yes.
And I realized this after watching John Carpenter's The Thing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the more I think about it, the more I really like The Fly.
Okay.
The Fly's a dark comedy. The Fly's a dark comedy. That's the thing. The Fly is a delightful dark comedy that happens to have tons of Cronenberg body horror. That's what The Fly is.
Yeah. It's
The more Thing is an actual horror movie.
Yeah.
Oh.
Interesting. All right. That's an interesting preview of what's to come. Welcome back to the Hack Prod Show. Hey, it's John Carpenter week, and as we record this for the first time in history, the last episode we recorded still has not been uploaded because I was so busy this weekend. I worked on a student film set this weekend, so I was so busy I had no time to finish editing it, and still have not had time to finish editing it. I will hopefully get it up right after we're done recording this, but as of right now, it hasn't gone up, so...
Happens to the best of us, Tyler.
You'll probably be getting 2 episodes for the price of 1 this week. But this week, we are continuing our Spooktober adventure with a look at the work of a director who many know him as, the master of horror, although he is hardly constricted to that. He has done all kinds of movies. one of which we're going to talk about this week.
Like all good filmmakers, he does more than one thing.
He has done some great horror movies, at least one great horror movie, which we're going to talk about this week.
We weren't too fond of Halloween.
We were not too fond of Halloween, which, you know, is a little weird. I'm still going to check. There are more classic movies of his that I would like to check out.
Yeah, especially after The Thing, I'm really curious.
Oh, okay. All right. That's what I like to hear. But yes, we're looking at the work of Mr. John Carpenter. We're looking at one of his classic horror movies, which is 1982's The Thing, and then another film of his that I just kind of wanted to check out, which is 1986's Big Trouble in Little China, which I just watched a couple hours ago, and I am very excited to talk about.
Okay.
But has anyone been watching anything else? Because I haven't.
What have I been watching? Well, on Friday night, I had Alex and Matthew over, and of course, we always go for the list of what ironically bad movie do we watch.
Oh boy.
And we happened upon M. Night Shyamalan's The Happening.
Oh, the Wind movie.
Yeah. Tyler?
Yeah.
This is the strangest movie I've ever seen.
Oh, okay, talk about this, because I think The Sixth Sense is the only Shyamalan movie I've seen, which I love The Sixth Sense. And have you seen that, actually?
I've seen The Sixth Sense.
Okay,
yeah.
Sixth Sense is great.
It's been a while, but that's a great movie.
Yeah, great movie. And
that's a great movie.
I still need to see Unbreakable, which I can't fucking believe I haven't seen. But I'm sorry, continue.
Yeah, I want to see Unbreakable too. But okay, let me explain The Happening.
Yes.
The Happening is a film about a plant-borne disease that makes people kill themselves. Like jump off of buildings, take out knives, let lawnmowers run them over. It is... This movie feels like it was made by an alien who does not understand, like, the basic cinema practice of things coming quickly into frame is funny. a big, ponderous wide shot of a man turning on a lawnmower, seeing it self-drive into a loop, and then laying down in front of it is objectively funny.
God.
You know, like that feeling, like when you're watching like a bad or mediocre film, that you go like, oh, like I could make that mistake, or oh, like that's a trap I sometimes fall into.
Sure.
You never think that. This is like one of the first bad movies where I just never thought like I don't know how you do this. I don't know how a human being could make this movie. I was convinced that like it was like an alien got a hold of some like piece of human culture and saw things like suicide and like global warming and said like, oh, humans commit suicide? That means they must be inclined to if circumstances were to permit it. Oh, global warming. Well, that must mean plants have a defense mechanism that can fight humans.
What?
That's a real thing. Like that's a real thing in The Happening. That like the plants are fighting back from human fucking of the planet.
Okay.
By making them lose the ability to not kill themselves, because we all know humans are just all naturally going to kill themselves if their intuition is taken away.
I'm so like I don't want to make jokes about this because I'm worried that it'll seem like we're like trivializing suicide, but this is so bizarrely misguided. And just hearing you describe it, I'm like, what the fuck? What?
I do not know how this movie was made. And, like, Mark Wahlberg! What? No!
Good lord.
This is a...
I've seen that clip. Like, I know very little about this movie, which is why I'm just reeling right now, but I have seen that clip of, like, Mark Wahlberg.
That clip is honestly fucking tame for some of the shit he does. This is one of, like, the most perplexingly bad performances I've ever seen an actor do. It is something... And you know what the shocking thing is? It's kind of boring.
Yeah.
That's the shocking thing, is that, like, something as batshit crazy and ill-conceived as this can be boring.
Well, that's just the cardinal sin.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, we didn't finish it because we just got to a point where man, we're getting diminishing returns. We were laughing before, but now we're just bored. So I mean, I can only really recommend it as because I'm one of those people who I think that watching bad movies is an essential part of learning as a filmmaker.
Mm.
And that's the only way that I can recommend this, other than if just all these absurd things just sound really funny, you might think they're really funny. We did start off the movie laughing pretty fucking hard. The slow motion shot of everyone just walking off of the building under construction is fucking hilarious. And there's this single shot of people just keep falling down into frame committing suicide in this tracking shot. It is so weird.
Good lord.
And sometimes so fucking funny.
This is so strange. Good lord.
I don't know how the man who made The Sixth Sense made this.
Shyamalan is such a weird figure because he made an unimpeachably great movie, which is The Sixth Sense, and most people think Unbreakable is really good too.
Yeah, they, at the very least, I think it's fascinating.
Then there's Signs, which apparently is actually pretty good, and then the ending is just not so hot.
Yeah, I've heard that movie has its good share as its share of good ideas and stupid moments.
And then the drop off after that is so fucking steep, it's insane.
This is also the man that made the worst adaptation of all time in The Last Airbender, and if anyone could see into this man's mind, I'm curious what they would find. But
one can only wonder.
So yeah, The Happening, shockingly boring.
Oh,
that's my 2-word review. Shocking, as I was shocked that I was bored.
Well, there you go.
I think everything else of note that I watched is television related. So, Lee, did you have anything?
Do Nova documentaries count?
Nova documentaries?
Yeah, the PBS.
Sure, documentary is film.
Sure.
We talk about film.
Yeah, hit us with it.
Okay, so almost a week ago, in the Geography 101 film season of fall 2017, John is God damn it.
Why are you taking Geography 101? But I digress. That's a conversation for another time. What did you watch, Reed? What did you watch?
We watched a boring 1-hour documentary.
Well, that's a cardinal sin when you're only 60 minutes and you're still dull.
I mean, that's a lot of Nova documentaries. So last year, after every physics exam, we would watch a Nova documentary about physics. And so I would just not talk about them to just spare you.
We're primed for boredom so severe that they are not of note to discuss on your film podcast.
Yes. So, anyways, I mean, it's dated. A lot of bad graphics, a lot of bad visuals. So it's a product of the 90s, or rather the early 2000s.
The Dead.
So there wasn't really a cohesive narrative throughout any of it, other than here are 3 areas where all these places experience different points on when it comes to stage 1, 2, 3, or 4 type of demographic transition models. And it's cool.
Gee, I wonder if the film is trying to tell me something.
Yes.
No.
And I was sitting there thinking, I just want to. Can we play Bend It Like Beckham again? Can we just do that again?
So you wouldn't recommend it?
No.
Well,
something I watched in the meantime was, first of all, I did watch another film. It was a sort of pretty famous cinema verite documentary called Chronicle of a Summer. Kind of just made just these two filmmakers of slightly contrasting ideology just running around Paris, like filming people. Like the beginning of the movie is like them walking around Paris and asking people, "Are you happy?" And then like you just see like a bunch of people of different walks of life describing either why they are happy or why they are not happy. And there's like and there's also kind of like fascinating subplots about like the French working class, and like there's like this wonderful scene where like they talk to an African immigrant and like talking to a French worker, and like at one point he says like, well, I come here to France and everyone has Renaults and cars, and I'm just amazed by the money that the French worker has. And the French worker says like, no, these people don't have money. They might have suits, but they might have suits and cars, but they're just posers. And like the faces of this African man are wonderful. As he just saying, what the fuck are you talking about? But yeah, there's also, we see like bohemians who say like, who just describe how they live. We get like some like subtle like ideas of gender politics and roles, and like all revolving around the general question of what is happiness in this metropolitan life of Paris. And it's pretty fun.
Good.
I kind of like it.
Good.
I kind of like it. It's not the most rapturous thing, but I think it's just kind of it's just a very intelligent, fun romp through like different sections of Parisian life and French life in that way, and that's pretty fascinating. So, Chronicle of a Summer. If you ever want to see what the Parisians think in the 1960s, go out and check it out.
I may look into that.
Another thing I watched was this is television time now. I watched an episode of Black Mirror.
Interesting. Okay.
This was the premiere of season 3.
Okay, what's that episode called?
What's it called? Shit.
Oh well, tell me the premise. Maybe I haven't seen it.
The premise is like we have this woman who lives in this world utterly dominated by social media, where everyone's given a score.
Oh,
like
okay.
that sort of thing, and it's all about things like how that's like just how much social media, not only how much social media consumes our daily lives, but also just like how social media makes us think. Whereas like we have this system that gives people a number, and their societal position is determined by that number. Like kind of how like what social media does to us, how we see things are like arbitrary numbers, like fucking like followers or subscribers and things like that sort.
Mm-hmm.
The problem is that it's pretty predictable.
Yeah.
Like the moment you see like the suburban gentrified town, you just think, gee, I wonder if the movie is trying to tell me something.
That's the thing with Black Mirror. Black Mirror is kind of like a latter day Twilight Zone, which is like something I support in theory, but like I've seen like one whole episode and then like bits and pieces of other stuff, and it seems like almost every episode is just like technology with vaguely sinister overtones, and guess what? That vaguely sinister technology goes horribly wrong. Who could have predicted that?
It's kind of it's pretty. I think it's a bit too simplistic. There's also a sort of narrative malaise that like I think there's a great Nerdwriter video on this. About like pretty recently, honestly, and he pretty much pointed out that like we are given characters with certain flaws. Like in the episode I watched, like this woman is just impossibly shallow and rank obsessed. Mm-hmm. But like the punishments that the show puts upon them are just completely out of whack with just the kind of traits they're given.
Yeah.
And like that just creates something that just is just uncomfortable and uneasy, but like not in a really thought-provoking way, just kind of in a like a what am I watching kind of way.
Yeah, I would definitely agree with that. The episode that I've seen all the way through is it's called I think The Entire History of You. Like the way it works is like everybody like has like a device in their eye that like allows them to record all their experiences so they can go back and like replay any experience, and like this guy like becomes suspicious that his wife is like cheating on him or something, and then like I don't know, the end of it is like he goes back through all his memories of his wife and is like, oh shit, I was happy, like why did I do this to myself? And then he goes and like rips out his implant or something. I don't know, I just watched that and I was kind of like, okay, that was a thing. Like,
that's kind of where I'm at as far as like. It's also a case where it's like, especially in the one I watch, like everyone is just so shallow, vacuous, and unlikable that like I'm just kind of like, what am I supposed to? It's not even that like I demand likability from my show, from my characters. That I demand palatability of a sort.
Well, yeah.
When I'm watching just like television,
your character doesn't have to be likable to be someone you like to watch and someone you like being around. Like, Tony Soprano is not a likable character, but he's so charismatic that you just kind of enjoy seeing him do what he's doing.
Yeah, so I guess, like, this episode does have fascinating ideas, and honest to God, like, the, like, sort of proto, like, Instagram they create in it is shockingly similar to something that actually exists in China called Sesame Credit, where you are actually given a goddamn number for like how like for your what you do on like the state sponsored social media sites, like whether you're and it's impacted by who you're friends with and sort of thing. It's like all and like I'm honestly kind of sure that like the people who behind Black Mirror do not know of Sesame Credit, but it also wouldn't surprise me but it's also blindingly obvious that they based it off. So
interesting.
But there's that. But there was another sort of Twilight Zone-esque sort of show with an eye on social commentary that premiered this week. The new Kino's Journey came out.
Oh, I forgot that was happening.
I did too until it came out. Because like the thing about like in theory, like because I think I view like the 2003 like series as like this perfect thing, and I absolutely adore it. So like in theory, I should be excited, but like I had no idea what the fuck the voice actors did before. I had no idea what the fuck the directors, the writers, the studio. I had no idea what the fuck this thing was going to be. All I knew is that like it's based off of the same like light novels that these things have been based off of. And like, okay, so the thing starts, and honestly, narratively, not much has changed. It's all about morality and philosophy with a sort of cosmic bend. It starts with like Kino discussing like, am I petty for wanting to go on a journey where I know I will kill people? Am I moral for that? That's sort of like basic like moral quandary. And then like the episode that follows is about the death penalty and violence and like a society's view of violence as like they go to a country where like murder is legal and not explicitly prohibited. And of course, shenanigans occur from there, as in all social commentary heavy shows. And like, but they're also like, there's like a fascinating scene where like she has tea with a man, and he asks like, "I admire your capacity to kill people," and like fascinating moral dilemmas like that. I guess like yeah, to me narratively, I don't really have an issue. I guess it seems a little bit more straw man-y than usual, but like I guess my biggest issue is that like the aesthetics. It kind of just looks like any Japanese animated thing out today. Like I guess it's pretty insofar as that they have some nicely drawn backdrops and like some golden kiss skies and things like that, but it's just not terribly unique, and there's lots of like jangly guitar music that is really out of place. So I'm curious about where it goes next, but I'm not. It's good.
Okay.
It's good. I'm not disappointed per se.
All right.
If anything, it kind of, I guess it exceeded my expectations, because especially like the opening is really cosmic with like this apocalyptic moon and like some like abstract ruin they're near and things like that. So there's potential, and I'm not dreading it. So
okay,
there was that. I think that is all of note that I've seen.
Okay then. I guess I should quickly mention the new Star Wars trailer that premiered yesterday.
Oh wait, I haven't seen it yet.
Oh.
Go right ahead.
Well, the director explicitly told people not to watch it, as has been widely discussed on the internet.
I didn't see that.
Well, he was kind of like, if you want to go in completely clean, like, don't watch the trailer. Like, yeah, obviously, duh. Like, who are you? I don't know. It didn't really do anything to raise or lower my level of excitement for this movie. I'm still trepidatiously optimistic.
Okay,
my roommates,
but you still are optimistic.
I want to believe that I'm optimistic. I want to do a Rian Johnson episode before this movie comes out because I haven't seen any of his other movies. I don't know. My roommates oddly like got really hung up on like the way the lighting looked in the trailer. I don't know what that was all about, but I don't know. It's it's whatever. I think the porgs look super stupid. I'm in the minority on that. I really do think those things are going to be the new Ewoks. So,
Don't know what you're talking about, and I'm glad I don't.
Okay. I'm not going to bother explaining it. Anyone who cares to know what the porgs are already knows what the porgs are. Wow. Okay. Well, that's not.
But I guess it's a thing that exists. If it's good, I'll go see it. If it's not, I won't.
I just can't stop myself. Tyler,
I get it. You are directly tied to this franchise in a very intimate way that no corporate fuckery can quite undo.
It's just so strange. Like, as much as I was burned by the last couple of Disney Star Wars movies, I still snatch up every, bit of news, every glimpse of this stuff. I read Entertainment Weekly's coverage of it voraciously.
Investments of Breaking Bad. He can't ruin this.
Well, I don't know. We'll see. Fuck, man. I mean, J.J. Abrams is doing episode 9. I guess by default I'm more excited about that than I was about Colin Trevorrow, but I don't know. We'll talk about this later. John Carpenter. Hey, let's talk about him.
Good filmmaker.
Yeah. Okay. So John Carpenter, very much, I still feel like he is kind of a more of a cultishly beloved filmmaker than kind of a mainstream, in the pantheon auteur.
People know Halloween. People know The Thing.
Yeah.
They know his synth music.
Yeah, but his actual movies, I feel like they're not usually held up in the pantheon, which is a little weird.
Especially Big Trouble in Little China is not really. I consider that more a cult hit than.
It's definitely more of a cult hit. Both these movies that we're going to talk about today were not box office hits. They really didn't do so hot. I think they also kind of got mixed reviews at the time, but their standing has steadily improved over the last few decades. Which is a good thing to see, I think. So, do we want to start with the spooky one or the decidedly not spooky one?
Reed, what do you want to talk about?
Well, considering I think you, John, said fuck you, and considering the famous last words, fuck you too, let's talk about The Thing.
Okay, then.
Okay. 1982's The Thing.
Is this the most revered Carpenter movie?
This and Halloween, I feel are kind of the two most revered now. I mean, Halloween, which we saw and were kind of underwhelmed by, is just kind of always put in the pantheon of the great horror movies. It invented the slasher movie, basically.
It is the slasher movie.
And The Thing, I don't know. It really has been a cult hit for a while, I feel and now I kind of do feel it's kind of respected as a kind of an all-time horror classic.
Yes, it's kind right now it's kind of like one of the big monster movies.
Yeah. So I watched this movie last year, right around Halloween when we did our Halloween episode, and I really loved it, and I was very excited to watch it again, and I was very excited for you guys to watch it. So. Hit me. What did you think?
God, what a great movie!
Yes, it's so good. It's so good.
God, this fucking movie is just it just throws you the fuck in and it throws you the fuck out. This movie does not waste your goddamn time. Reed, what did you think?
I also agree that this movie does not waste your goddamn time. I will say makeup in this better than The Fly.
Ooh, I disagree with that, but I do adore the Thing's makeup.
I don't want to fight about this. Can't we just say they're both great?
We can say they're both great titles.
I think,
say that.
I don't know. I mean, yeah, this is just another one, like, right in line with The Fly, where the makeup effects are just off the fucking charts. It's insane.
And the creativity of which they use them is just so fluid.
Well, it's so interesting because, like, I mean, this movie's called The Thing, and there is no other way to describe the creature in this movie. It's just this bizarre, like, shape-shifting alien that, like, assimilates creatures and, like, can impersonate them or, like, assume their physical appearance. But then, like, when it's discovered, it just explodes out into this, like, super grotesque, like, Lovecraftian nightmare come to life.
Yeah, like, I adore, like, it in, like, revealed form has no form. It's just kind of all things in, like, one grotesque package. It simply refuses to take a single form unless it is attempting to hide, which I just think is perfect. Yeah. Absolutely fucking perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the plot of it, things go wrong in Antarctica as there's an American outpost is it led by Kurt Russell, or
I don't think it's led by Kurt Russell. Kurt Russell's kind of there. He's like a helicopter pilot in a great, like, little just character building detail. He, like, lives in a little shack, like, away from everybody else, like, away from the main compound.
He's just playing chess and he just pours ice into the fucking machine when it cheats him.
Yeah, I love that. So yeah, and it's a bunch of, like, it's like a couple of scientists, but, like, mostly, like, some, like, blue collar kind of, like, military guys, it seems like.
Yeah, it's kind of the thing. It just kind of seems like when you go into the actual place, it kind of just looks like a bar in the middle of fucking Antarctica.
It kind of does.
Table, there's, like, a bar in the back. They have, like, the fucking, like, stained glass lamps.
Yeah,
which is really interesting. Like, everyone's smoking.
Yeah, it's kind of. So this movie's kind of like a classic. It's very much in kind of the Alien vein of, like, group of people isolated in a far-flung location. This time it's Antarctica.
I was gonna say, it's like, this looks a lot like, oh no, Alien.
Yeah, they even do the same thing that Alien does, where they, like, see the, like, kind of ruined remains of, like, the previous victims of the monster that they're about to encounter. So you get all that stuff, and then...
Like, how those other people meet their demise is fucking enthralling.
Yeah. Well, the movie opens with, like, this long credit sequence and scene of, like, a dog, like, galloping across the Antarctic landscape as a couple of Norwegian guys in a helicopter follow, attempting to shoot the dog. And you're like, oh, what's going on?
Which I will say, it's like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
No! It's realize. Oh.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Yep.
I've seen the movie before.
And then, about 25 minutes in, they put that dog down in a kennel with the other dogs, and you find out why they were trying to shoot that dog, and holy God.
Oh boy.
Yeah. I will say this, one of the many reasons I really love this movie is that, like, this is one of the few horror movies I've seen that I found, like, deeply and viscerally scary.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. This along with The Fly, and I guess it's just kind of a common thread here, is that, like, they just address, you know, human themes and human anxieties and human kind of paranoia, and, like, there's just a great undercurrent of paranoia that runs through this whole movie.
I mean, like, there are, like, long stretches of this movie where it just stops being a monster movie and turns into a kind of Cold War era paranoia, you're the commie, no, you're the commie, sort of back and forth, and that is wonderful.
Yeah.
That is utterly fascinating.
Yeah. I mean, and even if you don't pick up on that subtext, which I didn't the first time I watched it.
It's ramping up the Cold War at this point.
Yeah. Even without that subtext, it's just such a viscerally thrilling movie, and so well done. Like, this movie looks great.
Oh my god! Like, yeah, just everything from the creature design to, like, Antarctica, to, like, the Antarctic base itself, to even things like the effect, just like the explosion effects, and, like, even, like, not the monster itself, but, like, the twisted abominations left in the monster's wake.
Yeah,
there was an atmosphere of fear to this movie that can be cut with a knife.
That first, like, victim that they find, like, of it, with, like, the two faces, like, looks like some surreal shit, like, ripped from, like, Pink Floyd's The Wall or something. Like,
yeah, it looks like a fucking Pink Floyd album cover.
Yeah.
Brought to waxy life.
Yeah. And even, like, also, like, just the cinematography in this movie, like, I really noticed this time around, like, there's a bunch of, like, deep focus shots in this movie, which are so great. And just the way it's all framed, it looks so good. And then, like, that scene...
Goddamn it, like, I think, like, the ending shot is the best thing Carpenter's ever done.
Yeah.
There's just, like, two people, like, just exhausted. Fire surrounds them. Like, the light of the flames licking their faces.
Yep. And they just... The two survivors of this movie are Kurt Russell and the great Keith David, who, have kind of, their characters have this, like, animosity towards each other throughout the whole movie, and then they're the last two left, and they know they're just gonna die out there in the frozen wasteland, and they're like, well...
And the movie ends!
And the movie ends! They're just like, they just each take a drink of whiskey right from the bottle, and then, boom, 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 the Ennio Morricone music fades in, and just
and then the
fade to black. I love it. I love it.
Also, Kurt Russell's so fucking good.
He's so good. He's so great in this movie.
Yeah.
Just he just brings such a great presence and such a great, like, not everyman quality, but just like the quality of, like, just a guy just, like, snatched up in this thing that, like, he doesn't understand, but, like, taking charge of the situation in a way that no one else seems to be able to.
There was sort of, like, a subtle aggression yet also diplomatic nature about him that's really fascinating.
Yeah. That scene of him, like, testing everybody's blood with the hot wire is outstanding.
Oh, man.
Magnifique.
I'm guessing you were on the edge of your seat.
I don't think I've ever been on the edge like that for a while.
Yeah.
Just doing something that looks...
Like, after the monster's revealed and they go back to it, like, Kurt Russell's actively shaking. Yeah, like, we can't say enough nice things about this movie.
Yeah. Reed, do you have any more nice things to say about this movie?
Any more nice things?
Or just anything.
Or anything.
Yeah, well, I mean, so, like, back with the dog. At first I'm like, fuck you, movie. That's a dog. Why are you shooting
Don't
it?
kill the dog. The
Don't
dog
kill-
did nothing.
Don't kill Doggo until I realize when there's a shot of the dog and all the other dogs are sleeping, but this dog is upright trying to sleep. I'm like, oh shit.
Well, because I've seen a movie before, like, you get, like, ominous shots of the dog before, and you're like, yep.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
But also, like, some of the best dog acting that's ever been in a movie, I think.
yes, that is a great dog actor.
Fuck Toto.
Yeah. Forget Toto.
Yeah, fuck Toto, yeah. John Carpenter's The Thing. Fuck Toto.
Aw. But not actually.
Oh, goodness.
That reminds me, I'm about due for a Wizard of Oz rewatch, but...
Yeah, I haven't seen Wizard of Oz in a while either.
Interesting.
So, maybe we can pair it with Return to Oz.
Oh, man. That could be interesting.
That's for another day, but... So, are we all pretty much in agreement on John Carpenter's The Thing?
Yeah. It's, I love it.
It's kind of the perfect horror movie.
Yeah, I would definitely agree with that. It's just so spectacular. So wonderfully grotesque. It's a masterpiece.
This is
wonderfully acted, wonderfully shot.
This is a good Halloween movie, and I really want to be the Thing as a Halloween costume. So I don't know how I can pull off the dog emerging from my stomach that's barking independently of whatever I'm doing on top. I don't know how that's going to happen.
Well, like, my Thing costume would just be encasing myself in wax and then melting as the day goes on. Regardless.
You could just be Kurt Russell.
Are we ready?
Grow a beard and get a flamethrower.
Yeah, and a tassel cap.
Yeah.
So, guys, are we ready to talk about Big Trouble in Little China?
Nothing would make me happier than to talk about Big Trouble in Little China.
I'm afraid I'm going to disappoint you, but...
Did you not like it?
I'm not going to say that. I'm I'm just going to say this. I'm shocked that I was bored.
Oh, no.
I'm just utterly surprised and really have no explanation for really why I was bored.
Oh, no. Well, I can't fathom why you would be bored, because this movie is a goddamn hoot, man. This movie is a wild ride, and I love it.
Though granted, I will give it this, like a lot of the other movies we've been watching for Spooktober, it just throws you the fuck in and throws you the fuck out.
It throws you all over the goddamn place. Yeah. And I'm still kind of coming down from the high of this movie, because I just watched it, like, this afternoon. Good lord. Reed, did you watch this movie?
No, because I had little trouble Big China on the mind, so
okay. That's fine. But you should really watch it, because good lord, this movie. Okay, so
you'll probably like
it. We got Kurt Russell again, kind of the quintessential John Carpenter leading man. This time playing a truck driver named Jack Burton, who hangs out in San Francisco's Chinatown, just hangs out with the locals, has a buddy named Wang.
Just kind of like this big, blustery, almost like paradoxically masculine person.
Yeah. So he is basically he is just immediately just dragged into, just totally unwittingly dragged into this bizarre, unbelievably complicated and wacky and wild adventure in and under and all over Chinatown.
Yeah. I think, like, the main question posed, which is also an audience question, what the fuck is going on?
I couldn't possibly tell you. All I know is this movie involves magic and sorcerers and an ancient curse that...
And 2,000-year-old Chinese figures.
2,000-year-old Chinese men and weird monsters floating down hallways and... Kurt Russell with a mini machine gun.
Chinese-themed layers.
It's so crazy, and this movie just throws you right the fuck in. Like, what happens is, so Kurt Russell and Wang go to the airport to pick up Wang's fiancée, who's flying in from China. She is immediately kidnapped by a bunch of, like, martial arts fighting warrior people, and... Like, I can't even begin to explain this movie, and I think it would all just amount to gibberish.
Are at a loss, too.
It needs to be seen to be believed.
If I just say, like, oh yeah, there's a man who inflates and explodes at the end. Like, you ask a million questions that the movie does not answer.
It doesn't, and it doesn't need to.
It doesn't need to, you're right.
It's so...
You're right.
Committed to... Like, I mean, characters will, like, kind of explain things. They'll, like, outline in, like, the broadest possible terms this, like, grandiose-sounding mythology, but they won't actually really explain anything. And there's a journalist who's just kind of there, like, not really doing anything, but that's not a bug, it's a feature. Like, it's hilarious. There's the main, like...
Kurt Russell thinks he's the hero, but he's so obviously not.
One thing I absolutely love about this movie is just how much of a, like, faux badass Kurt Russell's character is. Like, he comes in, you're like, oh, he's just gonna be this, like, you know, typical, like, macho, big action hero kind of person, cracking one-liners and shit. And he is just, for most of the movie, he's just, like, such a useless kind of guy who just kind of hangs around while all the Chinese characters just kick ass and look great doing it. And Kurt Russell's, other than, like, killing the main villain at the end, which is done with a brilliant callback to something that was set up at the beginning of the movie.
That is absolutely hilarious.
Yeah. Other than that, like, Kurt Russell's, like, most actual badass moment in this movie is when he falls down a ramp on a wheelchair and, like, knocks out a couple of henchmen, like, completely by accident. Like...
And there's, like, a moment where, like, he's, like, precariously over a cliff, like a well, in the wheelchair, and this the music swells, and it's trying to be Indiana Jones, but he's in a wheelchair.
It's so good. And, like, he shoots his gun, like, up in the air, like, Point Break style, and the bricks fall on his head and knock him out. And then he spends most of the ensuing fight scene, like, trying to get a big, heavy henchman who's, like, died on top of him, like, off of him. I love it. I love it.
Yeah, I think, like, my big issue with it, and I'm realizing, like, a lot of what I'm going to say is not a bug, it's a feature, because, like, Kurt Russell as, like, completely unaffective, sexist, racist white man, completely a feature. Sort of worthless, sort of like the batshit crazy Chinese bullshit mythology. That's a feature. That's supposed to be something to be laughed at. I guess, like, at a certain point that, like, I just thought to myself, like, man, I don't want to follow Kurt Russell anymore. I just want to see the badass Chinese people do badass Chinese things.
I mean,
I guess I wanted a Hong Kong movie, and what I got was, like, Americans lampooning what Americans might think of as a Hong Kong movie.
I mean, I get that, but at the same time, like, it's done so well. Like,
I laughed. I did laugh.
This movie's so funny. There are so many hilarious lines in this movie. Like, they talk about how, like, the Chinese have, like, several different hells, and, like, they're like breaking into the villain's lair, and there's, like, Chinese characters on the door, and Kurt Russell's like, what does that say? And Wang's like, oh, it says, this gateway to the hell of boiling oil. And he's like, really? He's like, no, it says keep out. There's so many just great little things like that. Like when he turns the truck down the alley and, like, bumps the sign that's hanging there. I love all that. Like, there's just so many great things in this movie. He throws everything. John Carpenter throws everything, like, I assume he could possibly have thought of into this movie.
Yeah.
And it's extraordinary. I've never seen anything like this.
Yeah, there's not another movie like this. There is not. I cannot describe to you another movie where a man is dragged into a batshit crazy Chinese mythology kung fu martial arts movie.
And this movie is so interesting because it's almost like 90 minutes of, like, sustained climax. Yeah, like, you get to the middle of the movie and you're like, is this, like, the big, like, showdown already? But no, there's, like, another half hour of the movie left, and you think it can't possibly get any bigger, and somehow it does.
Oh yeah, like, the climax is fucking batshit crazy.
Oh my god.
And manages to be both an Indiana Jones spoof and its own thing all the same.
It's wonderful, and I'm sorry you didn't like it. Like, I
admire it. I'm not going to say I didn't like it.
Okay.
I just, like, I guess I just was, like, I guess I was just surprisingly underwhelmed, which is, like, when you say the plot, you're like, John, what the fuck are you talking about? but I just guess it's a case where, like, maybe I just went in with, like, actually, I think I went in with the right expectations. Like, I knew I was going to get, like Kurt Russell lampooning what this kind of character.
Mm-hmm.
I guess it just comes down to, like, maybe I wanted it to actually make sense. Maybe that was the problem. That, like I just didn't expect it just to be the other, like, confused clusterfuck of, like, Chinese mythology that it is.
Okay.
Because I thought, like, maybe the joke would be that, like, we know what's going on, but Kurt Russell has no fucking idea.
Yeah.
But that's not the idea.
That is not the case.
We know just as much as Kurt Russell, it turns out.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I don't think anything you're saying is invalid. No. This is not, like, something where I just think you're completely wrong, like, Social Network style, but
I get why you like it. This movie is, like, delightfully batshit at times. Like, I fucking love, like, there's, like, he kills the villain, and there's, like, the comedic, like, all, like, the terracotta soldiers fall down, and everything starts collapsing. One of the henchmen fucking explodes.
But in a way where he, like, inflates, like, a balloon animal, and then explodes.
There's a great still of that everywhere. With, like, the eyes budging out, and he looks like a fucking pumpkin.
Amazing.
So yeah, like, I am disappointed in myself for not liking it as much. But what can I say? I cannot help what I do and do not like.
All right. Well, that's true. You can't help that.
I still recommend it.
Sometimes it hits you and sometimes it doesn't. Yeah, I would recommend this movie to anybody. Yeah. I think it's just a delightful action fantasy comedy, martial arts, whatever. This is another one that just, like, it was not a hit at the time. It kind of disillusioned John Carpenter from working in the Hollywood studio system. Although, that's worth bringing up. This was a fucking, like, major studio project.
Yeah, that's shocking. That's shocking.
From 20th Century Fox. Like, starring Kurt Russell. Like, it was a big thing. And it was this movie.
I'm glad it exists. What can I say?
Yeah. I love it. And, god damn it, like, Halloween was underwhelming, but I think I really love John Carpenter.
I've certainly warmed to John Carpenter through this week, and I am now curious to see his other works. Yeah. His other non-Halloween works.
Yeah. We may yet come back to him at some point.
But alas, Spooktober must continue.
Spooktober beckons. All right, so I think we've put it off long enough. I think now we have to get to what we said we were going to do, which is at least a couple of modern horror movies.
Well, what were the ones you were thinking about? Wasn't like the Invitation one?
Yeah, I really wanted to see The Invitation, and then the other main one I wanted to see was this movie called You're Next, which came out a few years ago. But if you have any other suggestions, I am open to them.
Like, my others would be things like, I guess, like, The Babadook got really good reviews.
Can we... I kind of am not super jazzed about The Babadook, but if you want to do it, we can do it.
It's a 2014 movie that got good reviews. What can I... what can I say? There's also, like It Follows got really good reviews.
It Follows did get really good reviews. That's one we might want to look into. Yeah. I don't know.
I think I'd be willing to do The Invitation and You're Next as at least the opening to our trudge through modern horror.
Okay.
I hope it's not much, but I keep bad mouthing like all this, like we're just going to get into it and go, oh, modernity is the worst. But I really don't know what to expect.
You would think that we were forced into this, but this was an idea that we were all fairly enthusiastic about. I thought.
Yeah, I'm pretty I think this is a part of our cultural edification that needs to be filled.
Okay. All right.
This is something we need.
Okay. So, all right. You're Next, and what did I fucking say? You're Next and The Invitation. Yes, those will be coming your way next time on the Hack Fraud Show's Spooktober, which I guess is what we just decided to call this month.
Yeah.
So, yeah, there you go. All right. Hopefully we will not be wildly disappointed, but we've set ourselves up for it, so maybe.
Yeah, it is what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, there you go. All right. Thank you, everyone, for joining us for a wild romp through the world of John Carpenter, and we'll see you next time for some more recent and probably a little more spooky offerings.
Potentially, we shall see.
We shall see.
Well, definitely a lot more.
I will ask you real quick. Reed, have you seen Get Out? Right.
Ooh.
Well, we'll get back to that.
We will have to get back to that.
Okay.
Get Out. Yeah. It's great. And you should see it.
It's the best climax all year.
We'll talk about that later. All right. Goodbye, everyone.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.